And let's talk about something that will be affecting loads of families across the UK right now. Potty training. It's one of the key milestones of a child's development. But millions of kids in the UK and around the world are staying in nappies these days until a much later age.
Let's have a look at the numbers, shall we? In the 1950s, the average age at which children learned to use a potty or a toilet was 28 months.
But by the 2000s, the last time this type of data was collected, the average age had risen to 37 months. So that's 9 months longer in nappies.
Well, staying in nappies has an impact on a child's development, but also, of course, on the environment. More than 300,000 nappies are disposed of every minute around the world.
300,000. Well, now researchers from University College London have launched what they're calling the Big Toilet Project to find out why it's happening so much later this stage in a child's life.
Professor Mark Miodownik is the lead researcher and Dr Joy Harris is a consultant clinical psychologist. Morning to you both. Professor Mark,
Hello.
Why did you start this project?
Well, we're a plastic waste research group and we were looking at this enormous amount of waste, 300,000 disposable nappies every minute. That's now, every minute from now onwards. And when we started looking into it, we realised that the toilet training age going up was a big opportunity, because if we could get it to go back down again, you can reduce the number of nappies per child and therefore reduce the amount of plastic waste. And it's a potential win-win-win. So it's a win for the child, it's a win for the parents, because they gain money and time and space and headspace. It's a win for the environment, and it's a win for the government. So we started this citizen science project called the Big Toilet Project, and what we want to do is understand why it is that the toilet training age has gone up, and also how we can bring it back down again.
Let's turn to Dr Joy. Why do you think it is that kids are staying in nappies for longer these days?
I think a lot of it is misinformation. A lot of parents are told you must wait until your child is ready to go. The average age is about 2.5 to 3, something like that. So people are often misinformed about the right time to start, and they're waiting for their children to be ready, whereas actually children aren't going to be. They don't just wake up one morning and they're ready. They need lots of practice getting them used to the potty from being really tiny, about 6 to 9 months old. As soon as a baby can hold themselves upright, parents can sit them on the potty and they're getting used to it. And it's that practice and repetition that's important.
We saw the difference in statistics between now and the 1950s. So if there's misinformation out there now, what was the advice back then?
I think back in the 1950s, people tended to live a lot kind of closer together, really. I think people are a lot more isolated these days. And, you know, people used to have family members around. They'd live on the same street as maybe mothers, siblings,
and
etc.
washing nappies.
Yeah, and having to wash all those nappies. So they would be...
There was a motivation, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
Mark, we're talking to you as a professor and about your research. You're also a dad, aren't you? And you've talked in the past openly about the fact you found this a challenge within your family too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a real struggle for us. And I think the thing looking back on it now, the thing I found really confusing was that I didn't have that extended family, you know, living with us, you know, helping us. Because actually, when you've got 2 working parents, it's extremely difficult to have the headspace and time to really pay attention to all those moments in that toilet training kind of program. And there are methods, and starting earlier does seem, the evidence does show that really helps. And that's really what we want to do with this project. We want people to tell us what they're doing in their toilet training journey by logging onto the website. So this is called a citizen science project. We're going to get data from all over the world, from France, from Belgium, from the UK, from Africa, from Indonesia, and we're going to be able to map the practice that's happening in those homes. And we might find, for instance, that in places with large extended families nearby, that the toilet training age is lower than in places where there's, let's say, more isolated families. And if that's true, what a brilliant piece of research evidence to find, because that's then when we can start talking to policymakers about how to support parents better.
I have to say, I was a bit squeamish about this, but I'm now absolutely fascinated by this subject. Joy, just explain, because I guess one of the problems is that, you know, families have probably busier, more unpredictable lives these days.
Yeah.
Adults coming and going from the home at different times of day, which means that it's hard to have a consistent strategy, isn't it? You haven't got one parent at home devoted to that child's potty training, and that's hard.
It is. It's very, very hard. And I think what you're saying is absolutely spot on. People do have such busy lives, and it's hard to get that consistency and predictability and routine that small children need for this sort of thing. But it is possible. Lots of families do manage it, but I think it is when you feel confident about what you're doing, and there's so much conflicting advice out there, but there is some really good advice. So there's the ERIC, the Enuresis Resource and Information Centre. They have some absolutely fabulous information there about toilet training your child, starting off more or less from birth, having potties in the bathroom, letting the child see you go into the toilet. So it's not a big new thing, and it's really thinking about trying to make that time, because this is such an important skill for children, and it's also better for your bladder and bowels as well.
So if a child goes into reception, say, or nursery, and isn't potty trained, wearing a nappy, and other children are potty trained, what effect will that have on that child?
Well, for a start, they might be more inclined to develop conditions like constipation, UTIs, etc. They might feel kind of left behind. They might start to develop a dislike of the toilet, particularly if they've got some special educational needs, or if they've got some sensory difficulties. So it can have quite a profound effect.
Mark, let's come back to you. If people are itching to get involved with your survey because they've got enough time, what's the advice?
So basically, if you've got a young child now and you're anywhere between sort of 6 and 9 months, start logging on to our website. If you're toilet training now, log on to our website, and we want to get with information about what your problems you face, how you're approaching it, what method you're using, because there are methods. You can look them up, go to the ERIC website or our website, the Big Toilet Project. So to look at these methods and start planning early, log it onto our website, and then, of course, we will then feed back over the next few months. As this huge amount of data comes in, we'll have tens of thousands of people logging on and giving us this data. We'll be able to tell you on this programme, if you want, what we found.
We do want. We'd love to come back to this. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you both indeed for your time. Thanks for all your messages as well. We'll come to some of those a bit later. Potty training this morning. Children apparently not learning how to be potty trained, not learning to use the toilet as early as they used to. Loads of you have been in touch.
Lots of you have been in touch. We've had this from Danielle, who says her daughter absolutely refused to go anywhere near a potty. She screamed and seemed terrified. And it was only when she started nursery at the age of 3 that she used all those little tiny toilets that they have there. And then the school had to kind of take over and help with the potty training.
Ryan says praise is the answer. He praised his daughter, says he always made a big deal of it. Whenever she was successfully using the loo, he'd give her a sticker to wear, there'd be a toilet chart on the wall, and she absolutely loved it.
Yeah, but this from Sarah. She has a daughter who's almost 4, but she found potty training really hard because she has special needs. And she says the thought of her daughter going to school in nappies really concerns her.
Tony's got a good idea. He said he used to put his son's favourite teddy on the potty, just quietly there, to encourage his little boy to use it and do the same, but no pressure on him. That's the son, not the teddy. And waited until his son asked if he could sit on the toilet too.
All the tips and tricks are here for you today.
That's it from us.